Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to round number 2 of today's Champions Club. We are going to be following the Scandinavian Vikings versus Brohirim. It's a dude from Lord of the Rings. I'll show you his name. I need you guys to help me pronounce it. We are already into the Champions Select, so let's bring up the Champions Select page. And you can see on the left-hand side, is Mr. Brohirim. It's that guy from Lord of the Rings. I'll have to try figure out how it says. Anyway, Scandinavian Vikings are on the right-hand side. And the first two bands, Galio and Anivia, both mid laners. Galio, we've seen how powerful that idol of Durand is. We've seen just how disruptive it can be locking up teams. And another mid laner band, Ari this time round. So both games so far, nobody wants to deal with Ari. Nobody wants to fight that little fox lady. We're waiting for the Vikings now on the right-hand side in the purple trunks, removing Shaco. So that's an interesting ban. Shaco is very, very prominent in the mid-elo jungle scene because his early game ganks are extremely powerful. But if he doesn't pick up kills, and if he doesn't start to get fed, he really falls off very, very quickly. So I'm very interested to see whether or not... or to see what the last ban is going to be from the likes of the Vikings, because Shaco's a bit of a strange one. Shen, the last ban from our Brohirim boys. And of course, Shen can jungle, can top lane. A lot of talk around Shen in the jungle at the moment, especially at the higher... There we go, Brohirim, sweet. So thank you for helping me out, Arrhythmia. A lot of the professional teams and a lot of the high elo players are trying to use Shen a little bit more in the jungle. And of course, that Stand United ultimate of his is just so strong for split pushing and so strong for map control. Final ban was Warwick, and Warwick is just an immovable object in that top lane. If Warwick does get up there, he just uses those hungering strikes all day long and deal decent damage once you get them to max rank and just so much sustain. So Tractor Yud has locked in Urgot as their first pick. So we know Urgot most likely going to be featuring in that bottom lane. And Urgot synergizes so well with nearly every single support in this game. If you play him with a Taric, for example, you've got decent stun, land the corrosive charge, shatter goes out from Taric, and then it's just Acid Hunter, Acid Hunter, Acid Hunter. If you stick him with a Janna, land the corrosive charge, follow it up with a Eye of the Storm from Janna, and then once again, Acid Hunter, Acid Hunter, Acid Hunter. So I want to see what support they do stick down there. We initially had a Soraka being loaded for the boys on the Vikings, but they opted to change that to Leonis. It's a very aggressive Leona Corki, both of whom have got the ability to dash forward. Of course, Leonis is based on a skill shot, but Leona's got the stun, they've got the slow. There's a lot of crowd control there. And it looks like we may have a Blitzcrank. The bros are thinking about a Blitzcrank. And I don't know about Blitzcrank if they're going to play him in the traditional support role, because the corrosive charge from Urgot, he may delay throwing that until Blitzcrank has pulled somebody forward. And we've seen a whole bunch of different champions at the moment for, is that Lu Name Gruna? Something like that. Coming back to our pig rider, I forget the name, Sejuani. Wow, I'm going to have to come to terms with Sejuani because I think this is the first game I've ever seen her actually played. 1 or 2 appearances when she was released, but not too many. And she's riding a Warthog. I mean, that's Pumbaa. That's Pumbaa she's riding. So, Blitzcrank and Sejuani do get locked in. We can assume Sejuani is going to be in the jungle for the time being, but that might be a top lane Sej. I have seen Sej has been there. We'll wait for the last minute before we start discussing the lanes. And Denium, he's now looking like he wants a Garen. So we might have a really, really fun game on our hands here. Oh, sweeping out. Well, Olaf is still pretty cool too. I love Olaf. Keeps throwing the undertow. As long as he keeps landing the undertow at a decent range, it's nearly impossible to get away from him. He just picks up that axe and hits you back in the face with it. That's the League of Legends version of Techno Viking, guys. If you don't know Techno Viking, go Google it. So we got Olaf and Jax being locked in, and that's very, very good for, or that's very beneficial for the Vikings, because they can actually decide where they're going to put which champion. Once we know, or once we think we know what the top laner is going to be for the Bros, they can decide, is Jax or is Olaf a better match for that opponent? It gives them a bit of freedom because, of course, both champions can jungle. Olaf is a little bit quicker and a little bit more effective in the jungle thanks to his W ability, which gives him some lifesteal back and, of course, increases his attack damage as well. Vicious Strikes. There we go. And the lower his health is, the higher the bonus damage from Vicious Strikes. Now, Baron Glolyol... Barring Lol Yo is now looking at a Tristana. So now we've got... Oh, this is very interesting. This might be a Tristana Urgot bot lane. Tristana Blitzcrank bot lane. Urgot in the top and Fizz in the middle. That could be what we're going to see with a Sejuani in the jungle. It's very interesting. We could even see the likes of a Urgot Blitzcrank. That doesn't make sense. I think it's going to be Blitzcrank and Tristan in the bottom lane, Fizz in the middle, Urgot top. You can also play Tristana as an ability power champion using the explosive shot, the rocket jump, and her buster shot, which scale really well with ability power actually. That could be a possibility. And we still have double smite, double flash, double smite. There we go. Smite was just changed for Blitzcrank. So we are going to see Sejuani in the jungle. She is going to be matched up against Jax. I think we're going to see an Urgot top lane, and that's going to be against Olaf. So that's an interesting one for me because Urgot does have the ability to put a lot of damage down on, from range. And at the lower levels, if he uses his range effectively, can keep Olaf on the back foot. Because Olaf needs to be auto-attacking, he needs to be in melee range to be able to farm, and of course to get health back from his Vicious Strikes. In the mid lane, Fizz versus Ryze. I'm very nervous for the Ryze because Fizz can blow Ryze up, and Fizz can close the gap. Once Rune Prison has finished, and once the Rune Prison time, that route has ended, he's just going to be able to use Playful Trickster, hop all the way forward, and completely blow Ryze up. So we've hit our 3-minute waiting time, and here's the Swedish boys that I was talking about. It's Brohirim, Master the Brohirim. So we're going to see what happens on this bottom lane, or in this mid lane. We've got some predictions at the moment. Ryze is going to bend over Fizz. I'm not so certain. I think it depends. At the lower levels, the range and the overload is going to be very difficult to deal with. But the damage that Fizz can put out if he can jump onto Ryze and plays very aggressive is very high. So it's going to be a big kill lane. Scandinavian Vikings are playing on the right-hand side. They joined the Champions League last time round as well, or last weekend. No, I'm lying. This is the Champions Club they're playing. That's their first cup. And the Swedes, they've played a couple times as well, made it all the way up to Ultimate Gaming last time in the Go for LOL. So decent strength side, and especially if they're going to make it to round 5 or so in Go for LOL, definitely got a lot of experience. Let's have a quick look at the ladder. So we are into round 2 for today's ladder. Some teams already all the way up to round 3. We're going to try jump into a Team Thermal Take game in just a few minutes, so maybe round 3 or round 4. And Crew 2K we followed previously, a few weeks back as well. They're an incredibly powerful side. Today, though, or for this game, of course, Scandinavian Vikings are versus a Brohirim. So while we wait for the loading to go up, I am going to throw just a quick commercial up, and we'll be back with the game in 30 seconds. So, we are back. Sorry about the moment of silence there. I wasn't looking at my timer for the delay. And there's been some really good chats on, and some good comments on chats at the moment about Fizz and Ryze. And I think the champions have the ability to kill one another, and it's going to come down to individual player skill. It's going to come down to whether or not Ryze is able to land that Rune Prison before Fizz can jump on him. or whether or not Fizz is going to be able to use his playful trickster to negate that rune prison, prevent it being casted and close that gap, get into melee range. I'm very, very interested to see where this Urgot and Tristana end up going and exactly how they're going to pair the lanes up, because I think putting a Blitzcrank Tristana is a very powerful combination. If they commit to a fight, then Tristana is going to be able to rocket jump forward, apply a slow onto the enemy players from the secondary ability of rocket jump, and that's going to allow the rocket grab to land from Blitzcrank. And I've seen it before, and it's very, very strong. I think it was actually C-Play that did it last weekend in the Go for LOL. And every single time Tristana landed on anybody's head, it was a guaranteed kill. And we've also... sorry, guys. I've been saying it was Blitzcrank, and I thought Blitzcrank was going to be in the game. But that dude there is definitely not Blitzcrank. Yet again, another fantastic skin. And unless... the final champion for, I think it was Leona, is, semi-naked. I don't think it's going to be... No, unfortunately not. No naked Leona means definitely not Blitzcrank wins the skin war. And, yeah, I'm interested to see how these lanes go at the moment. I have no idea whether it's going to be Blitzcrank Urgot or Blitzcrank Tristana. I do think that's the preference. And then I want to see whether they're going to put Urgot against Rise or Urgot against Olaf, because that's also going to be very, very interesting. And Urgot could do fairly well against Rise. Being snared is not going to necessarily reduce the amount of damage that Urgot can put out. He's got pretty good range. Those Acid Hunters, of course, if they're locked onto the Corrosive Charge, is going to be very good. Even if there's no Corrosive Charge, then, it's still pretty decent range. So I want to see exactly what the bros are going to be doing. Of course, Brohirim in the top in the blue trunks, and the Scandinavian Vikings in the purple trunks on the right-hand side. I think it's blue and red in colorblind mode. And for everybody that's logged in, this is, of course, the ESL Champions Club. We are in round number 2, and we'll be following this all the way through to the final. I've been poking the admins all day long, and I just got a message now. I will join for next round. It seems as we were loading into this game, Thermal Take are actually loading to the next one. So that's pretty cool. We'll be able to follow the German side of Team Thermal Take. But right now, though, that's not where the focus is. Right now, it's on Brohirim versus Scandinavian Vikings. Finally, Madsnabest is going to be able to log in there. 96%, 97%. And look at Pumbaa. Pumbaa's so cute. Anybody who doesn't think that's Pumbaa needs to go watch Lion King. I just need to get my overlay up. There we go. So now that we have the overlay on screen, we can actually get into the game. And just remember, guys, that's definitely not Blitzcrank. He's hiding in plain sight. So we have Olaf going to the top lane, Rise going to the mid lane. Urgot, Tristana, probably going to defend their jungle. So let's see if we're going to have any form of jungle invade or any form of aggression. For the most part, though, it just looks like it's a defensive start. It looks like the players just going to protect the buffs, just going to make sure that nothing gets stolen from them without them at least knowing and being able to adjust for it. Jax is, of course, the jungler for Team Viking, and he's opted to start with the Vamp Scepter. And I'd like to see how this jungle, or how he's put his points. 21-10 into his armor pen. Lifesteal at 13%. A little bit of extra attack damage as well. Well, it's actually a fair chunk of attack damage. But mostly armor penetration. So that's going to make him hit really, really hard. And this is very, very scary here. Blitzcrank with Chara's Nabel. He's going to be moving forward. And if he lands a rocket grab, someone's going to be instantly dead. There's no CV though. So there goes the Acid Hunter. He's moving forward. Jax is immediately on the retreat. Whether or not Charles is going to be able to land this rocket grab, he's going to flash rocket grab. Immediately pulls Jax backwards. He gets exhausted. All of the damage goes down. And Urgot actually the first one to pick up the first blood. Or, he managed to pick up the last hit. And wow, what a brilliant commitment there. Chara just dives forward, blindly flashing. I mean, he knew the champions were there, so got in range to land the flash into the grass, and that was enough to secure first blood. The entire team picks up an assist. Urgot 450 gold already, and they're stealing the blue buff as well, it looks like. CV goes down from Leona, so they know that they're stealing this blue buff. Blitzcrank and Urgot looking like they're going to be going to this bottom lane. And did we even look if this is going to be an AP Tristana? And it is going to be an ability power Tristana. So I don't know how many of the people on the stream at the moment have actually watched or played as AP Trist. Rocket Jump on 20 ability power is sitting at plus 16. So that's a 75% AP ratio. Explosive Shot looks like it's a 100% ability power ratio. And look at the damage there. At level 1, will deal 130 damage over 5 seconds. It's an incredibly powerful ignite. And then, of course, the Buster Shot actually scales at 110 or 120% ability power. So we're going to be seeing a lot of jumping in commitments. It's very, very unlucky at the moment. Leona disconnects, so Scandinavian Vikings already a man down. And against a lane that's Urgot Blitzcrank, that is so, so difficult. Top lane is going to be Olaf versus Fizz, and this is going to be quite an interesting one. Fizz diving forward with that Urchin Strike. Of course, his passive of the Sea Stone Trident, that's going to be dealing damage over time once he puts a point into it. It's not available just yet. And that's going to make life a bit difficult for Urgot because, for Olaf. Olaf likes to be a little bit lower health because he deals bonus damage. But if he's sitting on lower life, Urchin Strike is going to be ticking away at a greater percentage. So it's a bit of a catch-22, and if Arrhythmia can keep the pressure up and pick the right time to commit, I think he can pick up some kills early game. Mid lane already. Crud, is that Nudstrup? Nudstrup? Yeah, we call him Nud. Nud is already on the back foot a little bit from Tristana. She's going to be able to start applying some auto attacks once she gets a few more levels as well. Just be able to outrange, and look at the damage there. They pull him back. It's one turret shot into Blitzcrank. He's going to be using that Mana Shield passive. The damage over time, one Acid Hunter with a flash is going to be enough for Urgot to pick up that kill. And of course, by stealing the blue buff very, very early on, it's so strong in lane. And Leona is, of course, still disconnected. Now we got pressure in the middle lane as well. Ignite plus Explosive Shot, and I just seen the Rocket Jump going out. Was enough to secure the kill. And it looks like the Bros are really taking an authority. 3-0 lead already. And Tristana maxing putting 2 points Rocket Jump, 2 points Explosive Shot. 160 damage over 5 seconds on AP Tristana at the 4-minute mark already. Farm-wise, Fizz on 16 to the 18 of Olaf. Pretty much bang on even. You can't get a lot closer than that. And I'd like to see just how aggressive Arrhythmia actually wants to play. Whether or not he believes he can commit. There he moves forward, Urchin Strike. He's got the W going. It doesn't land the damage from Playful Stricter. Ignite goes out. He does pop his Summoning Heal to save. Exhaust finally. And just not enough to get through the damage of that Sea Stone Trident. Would have been able to pick up the kill a little quicker if he landed the Playful Trickster. But it was enough damage. And now Jax is going to jump in there. The Leap Strike into the stun. That's going to be enough to pick up the kill. Great timing by Imbatinka, being close enough to pick up, close enough to pick off the low health Fizz. But 4-1 kill lead, Fizz already, and very interestingly actually, Fizz opting to go double Dorans. So I want to see exactly how has Fizz built his champion at the moment. A full attack damage page. I mean, that's massive attack damage at level 5. He's got armor penetration as well. Only a very, very small amount of ability power. Leona has now reconnected, so Master Best is rejoined, but he's under-leveled. And that's just going to be able to, that's going to allow Urgot and Blitzcrank to blow him up if they get close enough. Blitzcrank is now moving forward. The blue buff, of course, respawns every 5 minutes, so he knows it's going to be back around about the 7-minute mark. They stole the blue buff. And he's just moved up to put a ward down, just so he knows exactly when they're going to be moving to pick that up. Tristana, 3 points into a Rocket Jump, 2 points into Explosive Shot, and gone for the double Doran. So look at the damage that's coming out. There goes the Explosive Shot. Unfortunately, Rocket Grab not landing on the right-hand side there with the Sejuani Blitzcrank. And the damage that's coming out from Explosive is massive. Barring, I thought, may have gone for the Rocket Jump, committed to a Rocket Jump Buster Shot combo, but it wasn't enough. Or he wasn't willing to commit that close to the tower. And as I say all of that, does actually happen. As I'm saying, doesn't commit. She commits while I'm not watching. So nicely done there by Barring. And like I mentioned, lands the Rocket Jump. Pops Explosive Shot to deal the damage over time, and then Buster Shot just for that huge burst. The moment, level 3 ticking for 233 damage over 5 seconds, and that's it with nearly no AP at this point in time. Farm-wise, Corky on 15 to the 28 of Urgot. Super, super advantage in that bottom lane. We got aggression in the middle here. Imbatinka thinking about picking a fight, but not enough damage on that Tristana to really commit. And now we've got Sejuani. She dives forward, doesn't manage to land the slow though, and doesn't get close enough to hit the permafrost either. Unfortunately, the tick of her northern winds wasn't able to land. So, Sejuani on Pumbaa is going to recall, going to be picking up a few more items. And let's see what she's going to be building first. She's got the ruby crystal, so that might be a heart of gold, or I would assume it's a heart of gold. If not, could be working towards maybe Aegis of the Legion very early on. Tristana already with the sorcerer's shoes, and just using mostly the base levels on that AP, on the scaling to her advantage. Pings coming out from the Vikings. They think Sejuani may still be around in that top lane, but not 100% certain. The mid lane at the moment, Rise 23 creeps to the 48 of Tristana. Top lane is pretty even, 40 and 40. But bottom and middle are really being out-farmed. 3,000 gold lead already at this point in time. Fizz does have his ultimate available. No, it's not. It will be available shortly. A couple more seconds. He's moved forward. There goes the Urchin Strike to get out of range. Playful Trickster is available. Going to jump forward. There it goes. The Ignite's going to... Ooh, maybe not. I thought would have committed with the Ignite, but opting not to. And Arrhythmia just staying in lane, keeping as much life as is possible. And building AD, building attack damage on Fizz. I think that's interesting. I'd like to see how he's going to transition into the middle game, and whether or not he's going to stick with that. There goes the knock-up from Power Fist from Chars. Knocks up Leona, but I don't think Rocket Grab was available, so didn't keep him there. And then once again, a kill goes down in the middle lane. I'm going to have to... Okay, I'll stick on the middle lane now. I'm going to stick on this bursty Tristana. I'm going to keep track of it. And while that happens as well, kill on the top lane. All right, let's watch minimap. I'm sticking to minimap now. That's 3 kills I've missed, and it's not cool. So we now got Blitzcrank moving forward towards Leona. My eyes are glued to this minimap. I'm not going to be leaving it at all. And we'll try follow the faces as they get closer together. But the burst damage that can come out from a Fizz with Chum the Waters, the Urchin Strike, and of course the Seastone Trident, it's really massive. And we've got a little bit of aggression coming in. Blitzcrank does get stomped. Jax jumps onto him. He does get pushed back though. That was from, I think that was from the Buster Shot from Tristana, it looked like. And Tristana's now putting damage. Now, I don't even know what caused that knock-up, actually. Tristana finally using the Buster Shot along with Explosive Shot. Lands that damage over time. Lands the burst. And it's just enough to pick up the kill. Can you believe that half-health Jax just gets completely blown up with 2 abilities? What knocked up the champions there? Because there wasn't anything that I can see. Yeah, you know what, let's do it. No, I don't want to do a quick rewind because there's so much kill potential. I don't want to miss it. In the top lane, we've also got a fight going down. So there's now Fizz, Arrhythmia putting a lot of pressure, waiting for his cooldowns. Urchin Strike is back up, and he may consider doing it. If he can land the Trickster, Urchin Strike, and the Seastone Trident, it may actually be enough, and he's committing for it. There it goes. 1 Urchin Strike and an auto attack, and it's going to keep the life just ticking away, ticking down. Removes 7% of the target's missing health in the middle lane once again. Rocket Jump, Explosive Shot. Oh, didn't even need Rocket Jump refreshes on kill. So Rocket Jump, Explosive Shot, Buster Shot, and it's enough to pick up the kill. Absolutely, immense power from Tristana, and she's currently sitting on 1,800 gold. So that's going to be a BF sword. There goes the ultimate from Sejuani. That's going to completely lock up Jax. He's going to get close enough for a flash. I thought he may have gone for a leap strike. And now whether or not Charles is going to land the rocket grab, he's waiting. He's being very patient. The hyperkinetic position reverser, that's going to pull Jax right into the damage, right in and amongst the team. And they're going to completely melt him. And while that's going on, in the top lane, Fizz was able to dive the tower. He used his Chum the Waters as well as obviously Playful and the Urchin Strike, and that's going to be enough to completely blow him up as well. So, keeping an eye on the lanes as they go through. 6,000 gold. It looks as though Brohirim are just non-stop pressuring the side and non-stop aggression. And they can do it. They've got the champions. They've got the ability. So why not? So we've got some commitment now at the moment. Blitzcrank's going to pull somebody in. It's going to take a lot of damage in return. So first one is going to be down for Sejuani, who was low health, tanking the dragon for a long time. Blitz is going to keep running while Track is going to get one more Acid Hunter. So it's a 2-for-2 trade. And I think they managed to pick up the kill. So look at the damage. Rocket Jump, Explosive Shot, Buster Shot. That's going to push the champion Leona straight into Urgot. That's going to completely kill him there. A Rocket Jump forward from Tristana is going to put a lot of damage onto Corki, but she's got no cooldowns. So without having any cooldowns available, not going to be able to actually pick up any kills with those auto attacks. Rocket Jump does land though. It's a huge slow. Jack's practically stunned in place. Fizz moves forward, and with the ignite and one auto attack, that's going to be a kill for Fizz. Tristana 2 stacks for the Soul Stealer, and she's put a point into the longsword. Maybe we're going to see a Sword of the Occult and a Magi's on Tristana. I mean, that's going to be a little bit of a troll build, but hey, when you're sitting 6-0-3 at the 12-minute mark and on ATCS as well, why not? Why not be brave? So Denium pushing down this top lane, put a lot of damage down into the turret, not enough to kill it though, and unfortunately does a very, very little in his inventory. 700 gold on him, 2,000 in the bank, in comparison to the 4,300 gold on Fizz. And at the 12-minute mark, that is so much power, that, you know, so much of a difference. It's a huge, huge, huge advantage. So it looks like we want to do a tower dive at the moment. Blitzcrank and Tristana are setting up, and we've got a lot of pings going down, so both teams know something's happening. The Bros and the Vikings, they know that someone's here. There's just not enough wards on behalf of the Vikings. Charles is moving forward. If he can land a good rocket grab, it's really going to be the death of somebody. Tristana's got all of her abilities available. Sejuani's moved up as well. Going to be waiting to see if Champions get too close. If Champions just a little bit out of place, she's going to throw that Glacial Prison, completely lock them up. And Blitzcrank can snare them forward, or Fizz can jump onto them. And there goes the overdrive. Quite a committed Blitzcrank at the moment. He's going to get locked up and stun. Land a power fist. There goes the Glacial Shot, just like I mentioned. Pulls them forward. Immediate flash away from Knud. Terrified of being caught. Terrified of being blown up. And 2-5. It's been happening often, unfortunately. So, Tractor on the bottom with Urgot. 74 creeps. And to the 35 of Corki. Sejuani now maybe a little bit caught out. A little bit overextended. Rocket Grab almost picks up the skirt of Leona, but sadly, you cannot pull champions back by their skirts. So she gets away unscathed. And they're just going to steal the jungle now, steal the buffs. Olaf is putting pressure down onto Arrhythmia. And Arrhythmia has now gone Wriggle's Lantern and double Doran's. So if you were going to see Fizz in the jungle, you'd normally see him build a Wriggles and then maybe into a little bit of a bit AP items. Char's using that overdrive just to get out of range of Rune Prison. Not being able to be locked down from Rise. No real damage can be applied to him. And I want to see what Tristana's building. Sitting on another 1,800 gold right now. 100 creeps, 6 kills, and 3 assists. And her stacks sitting on 2. So since the last time we actually checked, since the last time we've seen the Magi Soul Stealer, now flash overdrive, just not in range, unfortunately. Very, very committed, but Rise was able to get away. No damage has gone on to me yet, so look at that! Completely blows up Rise. I can't even get the name of Static Field off my tongue before Rise is just blown up. And now we've got Blitzcrank moving towards this top lane. Fizz is putting pressure as well. Doesn't land the Playful Trickster. Does have Chum the Waters though, so opting to save it, opting not to use it under the tower. Doesn't need to take more damage than is required. And when your team is 15-3 up and 10,000 gold, you don't need to take risks. Nope. Rather play it by the numbers, get the towers, play the map. Play the map, play the objectives, and it'll eventually lead to a victory. Urgot has picked up a Hex Drinker. Hasn't built any mana items at the moment, and that's very interesting. Especially when you consider just how much Urgot, I don't want to use the word relies, and there goes the Chum the Waters. That's going to pull him up. Urchin Strike with Ignite. That might be enough to kill Jax. Jax will go down in the background. Playful Trickster doesn't actually get Arrhythmia over the wall, very unluckily, and now whether or not Charles is going to be able to grab somebody. Leona gets pulled all the way back. Couple of auto attacks. The Power Fist knocks her up in the air. Fizz doesn't have any mana yet. The Charles is going to take a bunch of damage. There's Summoning Heal blown. Leona commits, moves forward. One auto attack is going to be enough to secure the kill. The Rune Prison now on Fizz, not having any mana at all. He may have enough for one more Playful Trickster in just a few seconds. 70 mana. He's going to be shut down. He's moving forward, trying to juke, trying to bait, but that's going to be a dead Arrhythmia. One more overload from Rise will eventually take him out. No! Playful Trickster's over them! Exhaust is used! Hyperkinetic Position Reverse is going to pull Olaf away! Finally Fizz goes down, but not before Sejuani's now in the mix. Glacial Frost blocks everybody up, and now all of a sudden Urgot's on the way back. Unbelievable Playful Trickster. The timing on that track. The dude's trying to get away. Rune Prism at max range for Rise. And an auto attack is going to be what picks up the kill. But what a brilliant, brilliant Playful Trickster from Arrhythmia. Just as I see an ability flying, I can see the animation of that little fishy falling to the ground and dying. And all of a sudden, he just hops over 3 champions and almost gets away. Seeing 1 or 2 more messages about sound. I will look at that as soon as this game's over. I may have to take the stream offline if I'm going to make any changes, though. But I'll double-check my sound settings and see if something's freaking out. But 16-7 in kills, 2 turrets down. And what is Tristana built? We're going to see. And, wow, look at that. Look at the troll build from our Tristana. Let's jump to her at the moment. 4 stacks on her Medjai's. She's finished Sword of the Occult, and she's finished Leviathan right now. So, barring Lol Yo is gone all in. He's really, really committed to this stacking items. 7-0-3 right now. He hasn't done very much wrong. 5 points into explosive shot, 5 points into rocket jump, and of course Buster shot hitting for 580 damage. 580 damage with 100 ability power. That is massive. In the top lane, though, we've got loads of pressure. Fizz looking like he's going to be able to take out Leona. If he can get his Urchin Strike, get in range, that is going to be enough to pick up the kill. Now he's on the run back. A reckless swing from Olaf and one more undertow. It's going to keep him in place for just long enough to pick up that kill. But even sitting 1 versus 2, Fizz was able to walk away with at least one of those kills. He's picked up a Sheen as well, so that's going to increase the damage from his Urchin Strike. Urchin Strike does apply on-hit effects. If the in-game sound is a tad low, I will crank it up just for a little bit there, guys. I am nothing if not helpful, so let me know what do you think about audio, if there are any problems, cutouts. Try to be as descriptive as possible, just so that I know what to query or where to look, to try and resolve the matter. But yeah, I cannot believe the build on Tristana, and whether or not... There comes a flash. This is very aggressive. Rocket Jump does land. Going to be able to land Explosive Shot, Buster Shot as well. Going to be putting down the auto attacks with Blitzcrank there. Very, very smart from Blitzcrank. He moves back, allows Barring to pick up that final kill. And that's going to be now 6 stacks on Soul, 2 stacks on the remaining. And what does Leviathan actually give you? 32 health per stack. And if he gets to max, 15% damage reduction. 15% damage reduction. Are we going to see 20 stacks? We're not on IRC, we're on chat. Twitch chat, are we going to see a 20 stack Tristana? I want your predictions. I want yeses or nos in chat. Whether or not barring Lol Yo, and someone help me say his name. This dude's Swedish. Is this a Swedish word? Barring Lol, Baring Lol, Bazinga Lol. No, this isn't Sheldon, so we can't go with that one. Selling one of the Doran's blades to pick up a BF sword. So now really going to be scaling that... ability power as much as he can. Brilliant rocket grab from Blitzcrank. There goes the static field, completely silencing everybody. A brilliant ultimate from Leona. He's going to stun like a few champions. So that'll result in Blitzcrank going down. Sejuani's going to go down in the background as well. Fizz does land a very, very good Chamba Waters. It picks up huge damage, but sadly, not having Tristana there, committing to a 4 versus 5 fight, did result in losing 3 champions from the Bros. And they had very good damage, very good focus there. And here comes Tristana. She moves forward. She's going to be able to deal huge damage. Rocket jumps forward. Going to lose a bunch of her stacks, but almost picks up 2 kills just from the cooldown reduction on that rocket jump. And the damage that it's dealing, 410 damage with all of the ability power she has. And of course, it refreshes on cooldown. Every single time she picks up a kill, that's going to refresh. So she's going to lose some of her stacks. Denium's going to pick up a whole lot of farm up in this top lane. Going to start pulling him back a little bit. Start giving him a few more items. Currently only sitting with a Giant's Belt and a Ruby Crystal. I'm assuming that's going to be working towards a Warmogs. But it's a very late Warmogs. 2,400. So that's probably going to be a Warmogs. That's my guess. And whether or not Tristana's going to be able to keep up the damage that she can deal if the Scandinavian Vikings start picking up some, what's the word I'm looking for, some magic resist items and some damage mitigation items, that might help as well. So, it's Frozen Mallet. Frozen Mallet was the item instead. So, yeah, Ruby Crystal into Phage and then Giant's Belt into, yeah, so that was a bit strange. Yeah, weird to pick up all the health items first when you're going against Fizz, who, deals more damage if you have a higher health pool. Having less health means he deals more damage. So a little bit interesting decision there. But now we see a 3-man gang sitting up in the top lane. We've got Sejuani and Tristana moving up. This is going to be a full-on face check. But nobody wants to pick the fight. Fizz is now committed onto Olaf. Lands a couple of auto attacks on the Urchin Strike as well. And that's going to take off about half of Olaf's health. And now we're going to see whether or not they're going to push this turret down. It's very, very low on hit points. A couple of auto attacks is going to be all that's required. Fizz has already got his Sheen and he's got the long sword. And it looks like he's saving towards a Trinity Force. So he's going to need another 1,000 odd gold to pick up that Trinity Force. And it's quite a unique build, but it definitely seems to be working. So the bros, Brohirim, they've started Baron Nashor. They're dealing a fair amount of damage, but they're being pincered. If Leona can stand a good brilliant rocket grab, immediately pulls Leona before she can get her ultimate off. She does manage to channel it, but only locks up 2 champions, not before the damage is done. Sejuani's the first one to fall for the bros. Now they're split up, now they're falling apart. Baron Nashor still dealing all of that damage. Blitzcrank finally goes down in the background. Corki is taken out for the Vikings. Jax goes down all the way at the background. Tristana jumps forward and picks up another kill from having to run the long way around. And it's a 4 versus 3 at the moment. Tristana and Urgot, and a brilliant, very, very far rocket jump. Not being able to land that AoE damage though, so no slow gets applied to Rise. And without being slowed and without taking that damage, Tristana doesn't commit to using any other abilities. Well, she can't really stick on him. So 4 versus 3, damage went back and forth and back and forth. And every single champion took such a long time to actually get to life. So Urgot now caught under the tower. Rocket jump comes up from Tristana. Explosive shot and ignite goes down. One more acid hunter from Urgot is enough to actually finalize the kill. And with the cooldown reduction on rocket jump, Tristana jumps all the way back to safety. And what's up, Mr. Thermaltake? If your entire team is ready, you're welcome. If your team is ready to play, you're welcome to start the game. You don't have to wait for me. I will join you guys just for the next game. So, for the time being, 23 minutes in, we've got Brohirim in the blue trunks, really, really in control of the game right now. Playing super, super aggressive. Quite interesting builds as well. Tristana going for the full, snowball items, full snowball build. Fizz opting to go attack damage. Attack damage along with Wriggles Lantern and Trinity Force, which of course is it's super beneficial to him. The on-hit slow from Phage, the ability power bonus, the mana, the movement speed, it really benefits a sort of a hybrid Fizz. And it ends up making Fizz a little bit more along the lines of Jax in that same regard, as opposed to being a complete, AP burst mage. He's got a little bit more utility. He's got now on-hit slows. Of course, the additional movement speed relies a little bit more on attack damage as well. And yeah, I like it. It's definitely working very well. AP Tristana as well, very exciting to watch. Really, really interesting as well. It's so difficult to lane against. So hard to mitigate that burst. We've got some pings going down for Dragon. Very, very tentative at the moment. Teams, they want to go, they don't want to go. Very, very nervous. And rightfully so. The Scandinavian Vikings are under a lot of pressure. As soon as Blitzcrank starts getting in range of that ward, you can immediately see them backing off. Jax is now chilling there. He's sitting right on top of a bro ward. Are we going to expect another flash rocket grab? Kara's Nabel, that's what we'll call him. He's been doing a lot of the flash rocket grabs, and it's resulted in a bunch of kills as well, so it's definitely working. Urgot has finished his Frozen Heart, so that's a fantastic item against this lineup. Jax, Olaf, and Corki all going to be negatively affected by that debuff, all of whom rely on their auto attacks for all of their damage. It's a very, very, very good choice in the build there. And Mr. Corki, only on a Phage and a Zeal, at the 25-minute mark, still hasn't finished his Trinity Force. And it's showing. It's showing. The attack damage is just too low down. And we do have another Baron attempt right now. Rocket grab fails. Jax is going to jump and apply the stun. We're going to have to see if they can steal it. Unfortunately, not able to steal it, so the bros do manage to pick it up. Sejuani's the focus, so she's the first one to go down on behalf of the bros. Now they've turned their attention to Blitzcrank, and so much damage going down, but as long as Blitzcrank is tanking it, Tristana and Fizz and Urgot just keep bashing away. They're not focusing the carries, and that's going to cost them the team fight. A rocket jump, and as well as the flash coming out from Urgot, applying the slow, applying the damage. Corki, the only one to get away with his life. And now we're going to see the bros pushing down the team. I don't know if that's the best of decisions to be focusing Blitzcrank and Sejuani. They're not the damage dealers. They're the disruption guys. They're the guys that really, 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 are there as they're there as the initiators and jump in, tank up some damage. They need to take out. Oh, it's so hard. They need to take out Fizz because he can just deal so much burst. But then Tristana's going to finish you off. So it's so difficult to pick somebody in a straight-up fight, and I think what the Vikings need to be doing is picking fights where they're in the jungle and they can focus somebody down quickly and effectively and then turn the advantage 5 versus 4. They need to catch somebody out. They need to have a bit more ward control. Maybe even pick up some Oracle's elixirs as well. We've seen very little counter warding. None of the champions have really destroyed any of the opposing champions' wards. And just take a look at vision at the moment. Very, very small amount of vision for both sides. And we did see a few wards around Baron Nashor. And it allowed the Bros to pick up that Baron buff. But I really think if you're on the defensive, if you're this pushed back, you really need to be focusing on map control and focusing on map awareness. Now, Tristana, I asked earlier whether or not Tristana is going to be... let's get rid of that chat. There we go. I don't know if Tristana... Oh, sorry, that's Zoom. I don't know if Tristana's going to be able to get to 20 stacks, but she's currently sitting on 30. Now we've got Olaf moving forward. He's going to be looking to land a rocket grab or the power fist, but he's not going to be able to be slowed or disabled in any way. There goes the slow. Unfortunately, Ragnarok does finish off. Chumba Waters should be enough to pick up the kill. Jax gets pushed a little bit back. Glacial Storm now lands onto Rise in the background. So Fizz taking a lot of damage from the turret, tanking it all day long. The slow from Jax's red buff and the slow from Undertow really keeping him in place. So they do pick up the kill onto Fizz, but they lose Rise in exchange. With regards to... there we go. With regards to the champions at the moment in the setup, what I was trying to say, barring Lol Yo, 13 stacks on Medjai's, 11 on his Brutalizer and on the Leviathan. And we had predictions, a few saying yes, a few saying no, and we're going to have to see what happens. So, moving on to this middle turret now. The Bros are pushing forward. The Bros really want to drive home the advantage that they had. They know Rise is not alive. They know they've got the items and the team fight potential, but they don't have Fizz this time around. And once again, we see a 4 versus 5. But the Vikings are too afraid to commit. It looks like we may have some commitment coming in. Here comes Jax. He's got the stun. Leona ult completely misses, and unfortunately, Jax unable to get in range of a leap strike. Does mean that they get away. Blitzcrank Charizard is now setting up for the through-the-wall grab, which is very, very popular with Blitzcranks and the likes of LeBlanc as well. You've even seen it on Tristana's, where they just hide there and wait to commit to a fight. More of my Mortius has been finished on Urgot, and he's got obviously that frozen heart, which he's had for a very long time. Here comes the position reverser. Sejuani dives forward, immediately applies the slow, and manages to grab Jax, pulls Jax at max range backwards. Jax is going to stun them all for a second, while everybody's stunned and dazed. They're just looking at the Jax going, really, really? And managed to blow him up. Now it looks like a little bit of indecision. A 4 back ping being used. I'm not certain what the thinking is there. I think the Vikings may be wanting to drag this out for a little bit, maybe knowing that there's no creeps. So they are now pushing onto the Nexus, waiting for Rise and Jax to respawn. 18,000 gold difference at the 30-minute mark. Only lost 1 turret the entire game, and this is probably going to be the game-winning push. If Blitzcrank catches anybody, they're going to be completely blown up. Corki just out of range. Here comes Leona. Leona's moving forward. Chumba Waters is going to be able to deal damage to Leona and Corki. Those two go down. Sejuani's been tanking the turret, but with the cooldown reduction on Rocket Jump, Tristana just jumps forward again. They pick up another 2 kills, and now the pressure's onto Jax. Whether or not they're going to be able to pick up the final kill, it is enough. They did manage to blow up Tristana, though, and that dropped her stacks to 14, 12, 12. I believe she was on 20 stacks for Medjai's. I think if you drop to 14, that means you're at 20 for Medjai's. And what a fantastic game from Brohirim. The Swedish side really showing how to win your lane and win your game. So much pressure, so much damage. So there's the final game score, guys. Brohirim in the blue up at the top lane. Slightly unorthodox AP Tristana. Sort of hybrid Jax. Trinity Force hybrid, hybrid Force Fizz. Facing off against Jax. And then, of course, the Urgot Blitzcrank. And it was a bit of a roaming Blitzcrank, actually. They played super, super aggressive. And really well-deserved victory. So I'm going to quickly pull up the loading screen